Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful tasting with a virtual tasting society. I am Vadim Perlovsky, and today I'm excited to welcome our very first cognac tasting. We've tasted quite a few different spirits. We touched Armagnac, like most whiskey drinkers seem to start that way, but this is our first time having the pleasure and honor of tasting a well-known cognac brand. Joining us from Hine is Nicolas. I tried to butcher that. Nicolas Nexon.
Nicolas, that's fine.
Nicolas
is fine. Yeah.
And he's going to be walking us through this portfolio and telling us all about Hine and everything here. I do want to do a shout out to Derek. Thank you so much for our friends at Hodling for hooking us up with all their wonderful brands. Derek, good to see you.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, we've done just over 210 tastings in the last 3 years, and we've not yet done a full-on cognac tasting. We've dabbled a little bit in brandy. We've done a bit of Armagnac, mostly whiskey, a bit of agave, but such a wonderful spirit, and I don't know anything about it. So we're here to learn. Tell us about the category. Tell us, the one thing I want to wrap my brain around is, other than the geographical difference, what's the difference in Armagnac and cognac? But all of that is going to be down the line. First and foremost, please introduce yourself. Tell us about what you do. Tell us about the brand and what we're going to be tasting today.
So welcome. It's a pleasure to talk to you about Hine Cognac and obviously cognac as well. So my name is Nicolas. I arrived working for Hine as a brand ambassador for the US 2 months ago. So you will say I have a strong accent. Sorry, if you don't understand, feel free to ask me what I just said. But before working for Hine, obviously I was working 3 years for Rémy Martin, mostly for Louis XIII, their higher end of cognac. But more than that, I'm from Cognac region, which is southwest of France. And I was born there, I grew up there. My grandfather used to make cognac as well in the backyard. So cognac is a family stuff for me. And I grew up with that. So I think it helps. Yeah, that's it for me. So you want me to, how do you want me to do? Like, you want to ask some questions through the speech and so on, or?
Yeah, I mean, we'll do questions as we go. The first question, I guess, the simple one is, we have 6 expressions in front of us. They're fantastic. It looks like fantastic expressions. I have an idea of how I would arrange them, but I'm curious of what order you want us to taste them in to make sure that we get the best experience.
What I think we will split in 2 stuff, two categories. VSOP first with rare cognac, and the last will be XO cigar reserve. That will be on one side, and after, on the other hand, we will have all what we called Bonneuil Estate, which is basically the name of the field. I will come back to that, from 2006, 2008, and 2010. That's vintages of cognac. So you will see it will be quite interesting to play and to taste, to compare them. Basically, it's exactly the same film, the same way of harvesting them, but you will see through the years, different climate conditions. It will have a huge impact over the taste, but we will come back after for that.
Perfect. So just to confirm, we're going to start with the H behind VSOP.
Yeah, that's right.
And then do rare, and then do the Cigar Reserve XO.
Exactement.
Get to that. I'm going to ask what the difference is between that one and just the regular XO. And then we're going to do the vintages, the 06, the 08, and the 10. And these are single casks. Is that correct? Those are
these sound they are coming from the bottles that you have are coming from a single cask, but we made, you can see, you can make a cask 18 of 18. So basically it's the harvest of this field that we use to do all the bottling. Sometimes you can have a single cask, only one. So right now you have many casks. You can see 19 casks, 16 casks from 2008, and 18 casks in 2010.
Awesome. So exactly. So it's 18 casks, but each bottling is a different cask. It's not a small blend of 18 casks.
No, exactly. It's a vintage.
It's a vintage, but a single cask as well.
Okay. Exactly.
Okay, very cool.
And
so
you have
I love
the
this
number
one.
of bottles.
I should look out for this specific cask, not go find cask 17.
Yeah, but more or less you could think they will evolve in the same ways, because they were stored in exactly the same cellars with exactly the same way of aging. So more or less, normally they should develop in the same direction, which
Okay.
is usually the case. Huh?
Very cool. Thank you. Great. Yeah. So we're ready to begin. I think
Okay,
unless
super.
there's other questions.
No worries.
I know if
So just I don't know how is your knowledge about cognac. I will maybe start from the beginning, the little
Please.
bit history. Why cognac and not brandy? Huh? That's a huge question. So basically, cognac is a long story. It started in the 16th century. So we do cognac here in France since the 16th century. Huh? And after first 16th century, it was mostly the Dutch people who came here to do the business in southwest of France. What did they do? They were buying white wines, and after bringing it back to Holland, the thing is, after 3 weeks of sailing by boat, the wine was not that great to drink. So they had the idea to distill it, basically to cook it, to increase the flavors and the alcohol. That's exactly why it's a brandy. Brandy is not a French word, neither it's English. It's a Dutch word, brand de wijn, which means cooked wine. So clearly, cognac is a brandy, but as now cognac is a strict legal name, legal appellation, you can't call another brandy cognac if it's not made in the specific cognac region, southwest of France. So right now, as I told you, cognac is a specific limited region of France. It's close to Cognac City, it's a very small city, and it goes from Cognac to the Atlantic Ocean. It's around 83,000 hectares of vineyards. So it's much. It's the first white wine regions of France, clearly. Compared to the US, I would say it's a small size. We have a small country. But yet, we mostly produce white wine. What is a cognac? Cognac is made of white grapes that we are going to harvest usually in September. And we need these grapes to be quite acidic. We don't want too much sugar, because if it's too sweet after, you will have too much alcohol content after the distillation. We harvest these grapes. We are going to turn it into a white wine. This white wine, basically, it has nothing to do with the wine you drink, and I really hope for your belly. It's extremely quicker to do it. It's usually a week of vinification process, which means after 1 week, we have a wine which is really acidic and low in alcohol, between 9 to 11% of alcohol inside. This wine, then we are going to use it and do the distillation process in a copper pot still. Nothing new, whiskey exactly the same. The thing is, the copper pot still needs to be Charente style. Charente is the name of the region where we make cognac. And we have a typical way of the shape of the copper pot still, which exists more or less since the 16th and 17th century. It's a small copper pot still. And the thing is, what is the main difference is you don't have floors for the liquid. It's mostly coils. You have cooling coils like that, surrounded by cold water. So the liquid has really time to cool down. It's not strengthening the liquid. Always 2 distillation. Cognac is always made of 2 distillation. A first one and a second one to increase the taste, the flavors. So here you have a first difference with Armagnac. Armagnac is not the same type of copper pot still. Once you did the second distillation, you will have a pure liquid that we call in French eau de vie, water of life, which is around 70%. And that's this one that we are going to age after in a cask. It have to be oak cask. And aren't the stills required to be? Could you explain that, because I don't get the questions.
Sorry, don't they have to have a fire beneath them and not steam jackets or anything else?
You know much, indeed. That's a really precise question. Since 1936 and 1938, cognac is a strict legal appellation, which means the state is really taking care of all the quality steps. And you're totally correct. It has to be a fire, a flame. Usually now it's not wood. Wood is clearly, it costs too much and you can't really control the heat nicely. So now it's by gas. But you need to have a flame. I think you say the same in English, flame. And it needs to touch the vats with the wine inside. If the flame is not touching the vats, it's not cognac. So you're totally correct. It's extremely precise. Why? All these tiny details will change at the end the flavors and the quality. So cognac, the flame is always touching the white wines still, if I can say that. So totally correct. About this wine, for example, the type of the grapes, you might have a question about it. This is, of course, white grapes always. These white grapes, mostly 98% of the grapes are called Uni Blanc, white uni, which is really acidic and low in sugar. We need acidity. In acidity, you have a lot of flavors, and as well, you can preserve these flavors. It is strictly forbidden to add any sulfates, sorry for my English, you got it right, sulfates, into the wine to preserve the wine. That's strictly forbidden. So all the wines are natural, and that's why we need to do the distillation really quickly so the wine is not getting bad. As well, you have strictly no rights to keep the wine from this year and to do the distillation the next year. It has to be exactly the same year, the harvest, the vinification, and after the distillation for quality reasons. So that's it. Then you will have the pure spirit, as I told you, eau de vie, water of life. Usually that we are going to age in oak cask. Alors, most of the companies will use French oak. Hine only use French oak from the French forest. You don't have to. You can use either oak from US, Japan, etc., but it has to be oak. Quite important, I know you're a big whiskey producer here in the US, it has to be an oak cask that is either new or that had a grape product inside. It is strictly forbidden to age cognac in a whiskey or bourbon cask, clearly forbidden. It will change too much the flavors, which, as you know, of course, the opposite is quite possible. At Hine, obviously, we only use new cask. Then comes the questions of the age. You have many stuff written on the bottle. Now, legal reason, you have only 3 legal age of cognac. VS, very special, 2 years old at least. Then you have VSOP, VSOP for very superior old pale, at least 4 years old. And the last one will be XO, extra old, at least 10 years old. Cognac now mostly is a blend of many vintages to achieve every year the same taste as the previous years. That's why usually you have a young blend inside your bottle and an older one, but by the law you can only guess the youngest blend inside. Vintage in cognac became extremely rare because it's more complex to do it and more pricey as well, which is lucky at Hine because we are among the few companies left which is still doing it, and you will see it's quite interesting as well. So maybe before I start talking too much, which happens sometimes, we can start with the VSOP, aged by Hine. So basically, we don't make any VS. 2 years old is far too young for us. The only reason for that for us would be quality reasons. The region is quite big, which means cognac region is divided into some 6 wine growing regions, which the soil will change a lot. The 2 best soil in cognac are called Grand Champagne and Petite Champagne. Alors, of course, you can tell me, okay, Champagne. Champagne is a sparkling wine made in east side of France. The soil gave the name to the sparkling wine, but firstly, in French and Latin language, Champagne means countryside, limestones. So really, the meaning of that is mostly the type of the soil, the countryside, the limestones. So Grand Champagne is clearly the best soils that we have in cognac. That's where all the most expensive and the most rare cognac are made. And Petite Champagne is the second one. Hine is clearly doing cognac only made from Grand and Petite Champagne. We are not going to work with the entire region. We just focus with the 2 best soil. Is it clear so far?
Absolutely.
Ouais? Super. Because I just said that because you might have some question when you see fine champagne written on the bottle. Fine champagne is a legal appellation that helps you to understand what you're drinking. If you drink a blend where the spirit is coming from Grand and Petite Champagne, you will give the name of fine champagne. Fine champagne means at least 50% of the grapes coming from Grand Champagne and the rest from Petite Champagne. So you already have a quality, I don't know, indicator behind it.
So Grand Champagne doesn't refer to the contents, it's the region.
Exactement, it's a soil. Alors to be quite precise with you, Grand Champagne soil is around 22 meters deep of limestones. Keep in mind that the grapes, when they are fully mature, around 20 years, the roots goes around 14, 15 meters down through the soil to look for the water and the nutrients. Forbidden, totally forbidden, to water and irrigate the vines in Cognac. More water you give to the vineyards, lower the roots will stay. They will be lazy. They won't go deep down through the soil to look for the nutrients, and you will have less complexity. Clearly, it's forbidden. You can't water and irrigate the vineyards. Alors, so here you have H by Hine. It's around 4 years old. Huh? It's a blend between 4 to 5 years old that was created in a partnership with bartenders of the UK. As you know, London is a big place for cocktails. The main characteristic for me of this one will be like a bit floral. It's quite intense, it's bright. So when you drink it, it wakes you up a little bit, and it's precise as well. You can, of course, help yourself in a glass. So I will give you the way I think we should drink Cognac neat. After you do as you wish. The main reason is to enjoy Cognac. Cognac first is a nose, especially H by Hine, which is quite intense. You will smell it like that. You don't have to swirl it. You don't have too much. Why? Because it's already 40%. It's strong enough, so you don't have to do that much. If you want, that's fine for you. So you put your nose, not too close, otherwise it can be burny as well. So you enjoy, and then that's what my father called to chew the Cognac. The first drop of Cognac that you put in your mouth, you will chew it, and you will keep it for 3 to 4 seconds, and you spread it everywhere. Like that, it has to be everywhere. It burns. It's clearly not the best. It's to prepare your palate. Then you swallow. It will clear the path here as well. I see some strange faces, and that's really good. It's not. It has to be almost astringent. Then you take a break, 30 seconds, a minute, and you taste a second time the Cognac. This time you don't keep it. You just swallow directly, little by little, and you will see it will open. You will have the real structure of Cognac after the second, the third time you have it. And that's extremely important for me, because especially Hine, we only use cask that we almost don't toast. It's a light toast, because we don't want to cover the taste of the fruit. We think the fruit is the most important, which means you need to go the step forward. You need to have it a second time in your mouth to really enjoy it. So, of course, help yourself when you're ready. I will join you as well. I'm sorry, I don't have the proper glass in my hotel room, but it's gonna work.
So what is, just to set the tone, a proper glass is a snifter, right? That's what we're looking for.
Alors, I would say kinda. In France, we use, I think you use it here. Yeah, exactement. Tulip glasses. You're correct. Why? Because
this
it
one
has.
was-
Yeah.
This is a
Tulip.
Hine tulip
Oh, you
glass.
have a Hine. That's nice.
That's
Of course.
a Derek special.
Eric, yeah, that's good. Yeah, why we use only this one, and that's the answer for every Cognac company, because usually the shape is the nicest for the nose and after for the taste. If you think that's a bit fancy, the shape of the glass, well, try. Take a big glass, a small glass, put exactly the same quantity, and you won't have the same feeling. So the shape of the glass is quite important. That's to drink it neat. If you want to drink it on the rocks, it's not a problem. Alors, don't say that to a French. The French, are quite conservative sometimes, but we don't drink much spirit neither. The thing is, you can drink Cognac on the rocks, especially the youngest Cognac. So rare and H are amazing on the rocks. It will be more gentle, more delicate. Just please, one thing, put a big ice cube. You know it, bigger it is, lower it will melt, slower it will melt. You'll have less dilution of water. Or to have stones, like cold stones to replace the icy rocks. Why not? We really want a little bit of water to open the taste. Okay, but not too much. So on the rocks, it's amazing. So did you all tasted it? What do you think of it? Is it spicy to wake you up the palate? Strong or not?
It's quite light. It almost has some cherry notes to me, and almost like I want to say mint, but it's not quite that strong. But you know what I mean? There's like a little bit of that in there.
I like what you're saying about the mint. That's really good because I talked today with someone in French. We would say herbacé, like like herb style. You know what I mean? That's a characteristic of a young cognac, which is of course good quality because it's close to the pure liquid at the beginning, the pure spirit. So it's intense. You're correct. Yeah.
I get a very floral note right in the front.
Les fleurs, ouais, tout à fait. Ouais. Floral is the main characteristic of this one, like jasmine, white flowers, something quite strong. I'm happy you did this. That's good. That's really good. I'm really happy.
Some of the laziest legs I've ever seen. They're just not running anywhere.
Exactement. Indeed. So the legs.
Well, how much
Yeah.
filtering do you do? And do you add any coloring at all?
Yeah, alors, that's a good question. So right now I'm going to give you all the information for cognac, but I will be extremely precise about Hine. There is filtering usually after the aging, before the bottling. That's normal. It's to remove any dust, any particles. I don't know if you can say that, particles.
Yep.
Any stuff inside, which is totally fine, I think. Then for cognac, you can add coloring. That's strictly checked by the law. You can't excess a certain amount. Usually it's around 3% on the final per proof. So it's a bit complex. It's about the alcohol content. It's a tiny bit, but still it's a bit. Let's agree it's a coloring which has no impact over the taste. Blindly, if you taste exactly the same, one with coloring, one without, you can't make the difference, clearly, because it's only about the color, obviously. Why cognac? Most of the cognac companies are doing that. The only reason is that every year it will change the color. We send H by Hine or any cognac, usually VSOP, through the US to China. It have to look exactly the same this year and the next year, not to confuse the customer. So that's only for the color. That's for the legal appellation of cognac. Now I'll be precise and give you the precise picture for Hine, as we are a really tiny company and we craft our cognac and it's only small batches. This here that you have got coloring inside a little bit, which means if you compare this one with a regular VSOP from most of the bigger brands, it will be much more brighter and not as dark as a regular VSOP. Does that mean this is better? No, it's your personal taste. Just the color is different. That means as well, you can never guess the quality and the quality of a cognac by its color. That's extremely important. It's not because it's really dark that it's better and older. You have to be extremely careful. That can't give you precise information. If you look now the other side with the single estate, you know, the vintages, 2006, etc. This one doesn't have any coloring at all. And that's why it's quite nice to have vintages. We just want to let the spirit by itself. We do education to try to sell it, etc. It needs some work as well, because usually people who buy a yellow cognac or a brighter cognac, since the quality is lower as well, which is totally not true. But you have the both examples. You can compare the colors, you can play with that. The vintages, there is no coloring inside. So sorry, I answered maybe too much.
Is there is a little tiny bit of sweetener, isn't there, too?
Alors, sweetener, that's good. So to give you the full picture, you have 4 ingredients in cognac. You will have the water for the distillation. Any spirits do dilution with water. That's normal, otherwise it would be too strong. Then you can have some extract of water, vapors through oak. And after, this water will be quite woody. You can add woody water into the cognac. Let's be careful. It's forbidden to put oak of wood, piece of oak into the cask. That's clearly forbidden. It will be cheating as well. Then you have the coloring, which is totally natural, and the last ingredient will be sugar. You know it, you drink spirits, especially rum. It's quite trendy in rums, sadly. You have the rights to have a little bit of sugar at the end to make a bit more around the final taste. This is extremely controlled by the state. You can't go above a certain limit, which means some companies are doing, some companies are not doing. Clearly, we don't do, especially all the vintage, it would be totally counterproductive. I mean, if you believe normally in the quality of the fruit that you put in your cognac, you know what I mean? You wouldn't do that. If you drink a cognac and you say, okay, this cognac, this XO is really sweet, ask yourself some question, okay? What I really like to say, me, I hate sugar, for example. When you drink a cognac and you say it's fruity, that's the best word I like to hear because it's fruity. If you say, oh, it's sweet, bah non. Sweet, usually a Coke is sweet, I'm sorry. You have sugar everywhere now. And sweet is not complexity. To say it's fruity, it's really nice. It can be fruity and a bit dry. So if you find a cognac sweet or fruity, I will let you judge of that. I hope not. You won't find them sweet. I will hope that you find them fruity. But I hope I answered your question properly. So,
To sum it up, the core releases can have a little bit of coloring and a little bit of sugar added to them, but the vintages will not, is essentially.
Exactement. Why? Because there's a huge difference between blend. Why cognac? In cognac, we do blend. Because we sell through the whole world, and 98% of the cognac made is for the export. Hine as well, and we are a tiny company, and we have 40 people working. We have only 120 hectares of vineyards, so it's not much, it's nothing. But we export through the whole world, which means we need to make consistent. Can you say that in English? We need to find a compromise, of course. If the next year you buy XO or VSOP of Hine and it's not totally not the same taste, I mean, there is no point. You want to buy the same taste. If you taste H by Hine 10 years ago, maybe the taste will be really slightly different because it's hard. Who is doing that? The cellar master, he's like a nose, like for a perfume company. It's only a man or a woman sometimes, or for us it's a man. It's Eric, he has an assistant. And his job basically is to take all the vintages, to blend it together and to say, okay, this year I'm happy I have my H by Hine that I can release to the market. Especially for us, it's only small batches. We are not a big company of cognac. We craft, he crafts his cognac. So which means I think it's a key step. It's extremely important not to miss this step. And then you will go sometimes through the coloring, etc., to add some tools to help you to do that. Which is not the case of this one. This one are just a pure cognac without anything, age and vintage. As well in France, if you put the year here, or the vintage, it has to be legally a vintage. You can't write even vintage if it's not. Otherwise, you will have some huge trouble with the state. Okay. Alors, that's good for you, yeah?
That's great. And then just to finish kicking the horse, the coloring is at E151. Is it same as the whiskey industry?
No, E151. No, normally it's E50. E50, E150.
Oh, E150. Yep.
E150. Yes, that we use.
That's caramel coloring, like same as the whiskey world. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Normally it's the same in whiskey, but that gives you an idea. I give you my hand. I'm 100% sure. If you go in a cognac bar or a bar and you have different bottle of cognac, Hine will usually be the clearest, the brightest. I don't know why, because we almost don't add in our regular portfolio, and we had none here. We need to educate people about that because it's less popular to have a clear cognac, but I'm so sorry. Cognac is meant to be like that. But that's only my opinion, right? Anyway.
And so, okay, so back to the casks. You said you barely toast them. Do you char the casks? Do you char the inside?
What burning the inside, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's always, we always toast the inside of the cask, always, to increase some flavors. Normally in cognac, you have like, of course, light toast, medium and high heat. Cognac is only a light heat, light to a little bit medium in some vintages, but light toast. Why? Cognac is about fruit, is about grapes. If you go too strong into the toasting, it will overwhelm the taste of the fruit, and that's not what we want. We want really you to feel the taste, not the wood. If you drink Hine and you tell me, oh, it's really woody, there is a problem maybe in your bottle. It shouldn't be right. It's first, we decide to focus about the fruit. Of course, if I was working for another company of cognac, maybe my answer would be different. But for me, cognac, when I drink cognac, I want to feel the grape, to feel the fruit. That's my opinion. Huh? It's good for you? Yeah.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
So if you want, we can move a bit forward. So after the SOP, which is clearly our leading cognac for the cocktails, it's quite precise. You will have rare, which for me is a gem. I don't know if you can say that in English. It's extremely good, especially for the price and the quality. It's by the legal age of the SOP, because it's around it's older than 4 years old. The blend is around 7 years old, 6 to 7 years old inside. Here you have 20 blends. So you have 20 different vintages, if you want, that we're going to blend together to obtain this unique cognac. This one, we are extremely picky about the quality. We want something not as floral that you found with age. We want something much more round and smooth. Normally, the main characteristic for me of this one will be apricot. Apricot, and you can say that cooked apricot, like candied. Sorry for my accent. I don't know, but for the quality, it's insane. For the age, it's really insane. The quality that it has, it's really good. Neat on the rocks. Why not in cocktail? But it's so good to drink like that. You will see it's totally different, and it's not that much older. So I invite you to taste it as well, if you want. Will follow you, but not too much. So I do that every day. So it's always as well. It's always good when you switch a glass of cognac or to take a sip of water. It's always good to. It helps to refresh and to start new. And here, don't hesitate to share what you think. You can talk. Let's discuss about it. I think it's really important to know what you feel, what you think. Allez, l'honey, ouais, le honey is like miel from the bees, honey, right? The stuff made, yeah, that's totally correct. I didn't see the chat before, sorry, I speak too much. Okay, there is a map. Okay, that's good. Yeah, honey. Of course, there is no honey inside.
I like how this one is a little richer.
Right, plus complexe.
Yeah, has but it doesn't have that same herbal minty note. So it's nice to have those in contrast. And I mean, it makes sense given the age. This is not shocking, but I like the mouthfeel a lot.
Yeah, it's like a feeling warm, like in Christmas when you're surrounded by family. And I like this one as well because, as you said, it will be richer. The only reason it's richer in cognac is that more age, more oxidation you will have through the wood. So it will open the flavors. So it's a bit more woody as well, a little bit more woody. This one, of course, it's older.
Yeah, richer's the term I was going to use too.
That's good. Yeah, richer, more complex.
Yeah.
And believe me, if you taste, I always invite people because I'm so sure about the quality of all cognacs. Try them blind and compares what you like. And blindly, you will know which one you like. You will know which one is really fruity but not sweet, etc. And this one, believe me, is like really, really nice, especially on the rocks as well in summer.
I have a maturation question for you, or actually further down the line, I guess. I know this is fairly common, I believe, in cognac, but do you use slow dilution when you're...
Can you explain me that? Because slow dilution with water, you mean?
Yes, so still basically adding water while in the barrel to lower the proof.
Yeah. So yeah, how we do that? Usually after the distillation process, just after the distillation, the pure alcohol will be around 70%. You say percent, right? 70%. Usually there is always a first reduction, always. Otherwise it's too strong to put through the wood. Around 60, 62. Then you put it in a young cask, usually which is between 0 to 5 years old, which is full of tannins, full of like really strong, to give a little bit of power to your spirit. After that, you move it to a cask which is a bit older, a medium cask, between 5 to 10 years old. Here it will be open, the flavors, etc. Through all the aging process of cognac, of your cognac, you can add some water. You do as you wish because it's your recipe. Some cognac, some young cognac are really strong and really burning here because they were reduced quite quickly. You take a VS, 2 years old. In 2 years, you have to go from 70 to 40. So you have to reduce it really quickly. So of course, the liquid doesn't have really the time to, I don't know, to have the flavors really nice. So it will be much more harsh here, like really, really strong. And that you can feel it. If you go slowly, you make nice dilution, slowly dilution over the time and the years, it's much smoother and nicer. That's how you see as well a quality of cognac. That answer your questions? Okay, super. So how is it about a rare as well? Like you compares to the first one, you prefer, you like both, they are different, or you don't like as well, huh? Diversity is always good.
Interestingly, I very much prefer the first one. I feel like this one's
That's
got
good.
sharper
You like
edges.
technicals, okay. That's good. So you like more florals and herbals.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy as well. Huh? That means our VSOP is really nice for the category, which is really good. Maybe someone else? No, you good? I have something in the chat, sorry.
I do like both, and I think for me, which one I would pick up would just be depending on my mood for the day. Do I want something a little bit lighter, or do I want something like with that more of a rich fruity note? Or like if it's hot out, I might want, the H because it's a little bit lighter, cleaner.
You're correct, and I will go to your message as well, Laurie. Exactly as you said, Amanda. It's I mean, you will taste maybe tomorrow, you will be pissed or you will be happy. I don't know about your day at work. So you will taste it, maybe you won't like it because you will feel different. And some cognac that you didn't like, maybe tomorrow you will enjoy them. So you have a cognac for the moment of the day, of course, and how you feel. And that's what is amazing. You don't have one cognac. You have many cognacs, even for one company like us. And you can choose the right one for the right moment. So it's extremely important. I think you get the picture. And Laurie, for the food, I mean, of course, cooking is a part of life. Life without cooking would be terribly sad, I think. But the thing is, cognac with food is amazing. You have a huge playground. If you like seafood, alors I know not everyone likes seafood. If you like scallops, you do flambé with cognac. It's insane. It will bring the richness. You say it was rich. It will give these flavors to the scallops. Prawns as well. Foie gras. Alors, if you like this kind of stuff, I don't go into the debate of foie gras, but if you like this kind of stuff, foie gras made with cognac is amazing. You had some Armagnac. In Armagnac region, they do exactly the same. I mean, doing flambé with cognac or adding in the crepes or pancakes, it's really complex and really thin as a taste. You don't have to put too much. As well, don't believe like most of the French that if you put the cheapest, it's fine. No, if you put VS, which is really young, it will not give a really good flavors to your scallops. Put maybe less, but better quality. Again, that's only my opinion, right? So Erin is doing, but for the food, yeah, you have a huge playground. Usually we do with fish as well, or some cognac sauce with crème fraîche, crème fraîche, you can say that maybe, to add to the beef, etc. Roast beef, it's very nice. Oh, sorry, I talk too much, I think. Huh?
No, you're making us hungry. So I had my opinion before tasting.
Okay.
But now that I tasted the rare, it is so delicious. I think Amanda was so right. This is just so rich and fruity.
You like it?
Lighter on the nose. I prefer the H, but on the palate, it's a toss up. They're both amazing.
Really happy. I'm happy because, I mean, people, if I was in front of you and telling you, okay, it tastes like that, blah, 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 it doesn't make any sense. That's what you're feeling. You have the right to change your opinion as well. And I mean, it's your opinion. It's not mine who matters. So it's good to enjoy some stuff and to dislike some other. You can't please everyone. Huh? And that's what we want at Hine. We have our signature. We clearly try to play it really, really nice to cognac. You enjoy or not, but I'm really glad that your opinion evolved about it. So that's good. If you want, we can go for, I don't know, what do you want next? Like more information about Hine, or you want to go with the cigar XO? I see Laurie. Yeah, you want
Laurie already moved on.
Okay, super. And messieurs, you can talk as well, hein, messieurs, Golan, Daniel, Tony, James, Michael. You can talk to me talk to me as well, of course. So I don't have the bottle right now with me, but the thing is, XO cigar. Alors, it's extremely particular. I will have to be honest with you, even I don't have anything to hide, obviously. Look the bottle, the stickers. You don't have champagne, Grand Champagne written on it. It's not written, which means the grapes coming from inside your bottle are not only from champagne soil. They are coming from another type of soil, which is a bit further cognac. This one is extremely particular. This XO, alors XO is at least 10 years old. Clearly here you have something which is much older. It's around 14 years old. This is extremely particular because it was created by Bernard Hine, the owner of the company, the French owner, the family who founded the company. He, many years ago, loved cigar. He really loved that. And it happens, one of his friends is Nicolas, I write his name because Freeman, which is the chairman, the CEO of a big company of cigars in England, in London. They are extremely close friends, and they say, okay, maybe we should work something out together to create a unique blend to drink with my cigar. And that's how the story happened. It was meant more something for his friend, like a partnership. It was successful. We have to be honest. It was really successful. That now we kept it until then. Maybe you already have it. I don't know if you already drank it. Some of you. Did you already pour yourself? Yeah. Yes, I see some yes. I see some no. So that's super. It's definitely the aftertaste lasts much longer. So that's because of the age and the complexity. For me, it's more orange candied. Like it has some Christmas vibes a bit. Maybe for you it won't be the case. I don't know. We have different mouths. It's clearly much more complex, this one. Like you have a huge jump. The previous one was around 7 years old. Here it's around 14 years old. So maybe you can explain, Wim, what are your feelings about this one if you had it? Do you enjoy it? How is it?
The minty part comes back on the finish. Instead of being on the front, like in the first one, this now is way on the finish and it comes up. Yeah, really interesting.
Interesting at the end. So it's more... Alors, this one you have to think. For high type of cognac, I wouldn't say it's a bit outside the signature of what we do, but it's definitely a bit more powerful as well. Why? Because it needs to match a cigar. Cigar is extremely powerful. I will never advise you to have a cognac which is extremely pricey with a cigar, especially a cognac which is really thin, really fruity, because the cigars will overwhelm the taste of cognac. So it's not really the best. This one, as it's a bit more powerful, it's extremely good with cigar. The pairing of both makes something almost sweet in your mouth. And that's an experience. Even if you don't smoke, just try for once. It's really an experience. Shouldn't say that, of course. Healthy life is really better, but at least once a while, it's nice, I think. This is not our XO. Our regular XO is called Antique. It's around 20 years old. It's much older than that. Sadly, we run out of stocks. So hopefully we can have again this conversation next year. In 1 year, we should have more. And clearly, Antique XO is totally different. It's around 20 years. That's another world again.
This is so good. I get that like tobacco leaf note, but I also get like a toasted peppercorn in there.
Yeah, that's good. That's
I
good. That's good.
really like this one.
This morning, I had someone who told me as well, like a toasted cacao. I don't know. Cacao, you can say that in English, right? The chocolate stuff. That's good. And indeed, you have something much more complex inside. And what we call as well the final nose in cognac is when you finish your glasses. After you put your nose inside the glass, and you will have something. Grab it before it's gone. And you will have something. You will have the last taste of cognac. When you smell by nose, after your glass is empty, you can feel the good point and also the bad point, if it's too woody, etc. It's a good way to smell after. I should check the walnut Christmas spice. Yeah. So me, I really enjoy that one, but of course it's another level. It's not the same price neither, which explains of the aging process.
Has
Yeah,
your
go on.
EXO always been so old? I mean, I know I was going to
Yes.
mention this earlier. I think was it 5 years ago that the age of EXO was updated to 10 years? Wasn't it? It used to be 7, right?
You're totally correct. So some years ago, XO was 6 years old. Alors you had Napoleon. Alors let's be. I'm an honest guy, so let's cut the crap. What is Napoleon like? Héritage, like any other fancy words? That means nothing. You have no legal appellation behind, which means any company can do what they want. The only legal appellation would be VS 2 years, VSOP 4, XO 10. In the past, XO was 6 years old. We increased that. It gives more diversity as well. Now you can hear about XXO. XXO is at least 14 years old. Some companies are doing that, some not. We don't, because traditionally XO was at least 10 years, so why making a new category? Maybe we will have to adapt in the future. But antique XO, Hine XO is around 20 years. It always have been. And this, by definition, would be an XXO because the average blend here is 14 years old. Just after the labels will change, of course. And have you any more questions about the age and stuff like that, the appellation of the age? No?
Is that something, it's a yearly release or
Can you repeat that, please?
it's yearly release? Every year you have this, the cigar or no?
Non. Alors ça, c'est une super question. Non. That's the answer I can give you. No, sadly, no. Sadly for us, sadly for you. Huh? The thing is, this is extremely a precise batch, like the vintage that you will taste after. We are a small company. You have to think 40 person from the field to the marketing team, etc. So no, we work on really small quantities, small casks, small numbers. So sadly not. We have right now. We can run out of that. Derek is here to say that I'm correct, as well as we can run out some time of antique XO. The thing is, we are not going to release for you into the market something which is not ready. I'm sorry, quality is not always available. That's my opinion. Huh? So to make a short answer to what you were saying, right now it's available. If you ask me if next year it will be available, the answer is clearly I don't know. It might not be available. We have fluctuation. Usually for regular XO, we try to do our best. You see, we have some problem right now. But usually with VSOP, as it's much younger, you can find easily without any problem. More you go in a special stuff, more easily you might not find it. Huh? Any more questions about the XO or age? Or you? I see, maybe. I have the chat. No, it's good. Crazy deal. That's good if you already. That's good. For Christmas, huh? Who knows? Alors.
I will say this tastes a lot better out of these smaller snifters than it does out of the Glencairn. I poured it over, and on the nose, it's a lot better.
It's good. So it's important. It changed the shape of what you feel. My dad drinks whiskey and cognac, and he always told me before I was working in cognac, yeah, it's bullshit. It's fancy, the shape of the glasses. No. And if you believe that, try it. Take 2 glasses with different shape and make your own opinion, and you will see. So indeed, it's changed the flavors. And I'm quite happy that you find it as well.
I almost get a taste of golden raisin.
Yeah. Ouais. Alors, that's a characteristic golden raisin that we could say. Alors, older you get into cognac, you have a taste which is extremely a particulate word in French we call rancio. Does anyone heard that word before, rancio? Rancio is the same in Latin, in Italian, it's Latin language. Most of the French would not know the definition as well. Rancio is the taste of oxidation of old. Old have a taste in spirit, especially in brandies. It's the thin borders between the fruit is really sweet, a fruit which is really, really sweet, before it gets alcoholic, it gets bad. You have a thin border of taste that we call rancio in French, and that's what you call golden grapes. More you go in the aging process of a cognac, more you have this taste. We don't have here, unfortunately, with us the oldest cognac that we have in Hine, which is insane. It's called Talent. I think in the US it's around 7K a bottle, so it's quite pricey. But it's the average blend is around 60 years. The oldest blend, vintage inside, is from the middle of the 19th century, 1854. So it's insane. So the golden fruit that you found here would be 10 times higher in this kind of cognac. But obviously it's not the same price after the bottle. Up, anything? No, you good? You want to?
I just need to sit down and enjoy this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need like half an hour of just quiet. Put on some good classical music in the background.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for preparing us for the cigar reserve, because it definitely, if you hadn't have prepared me, I probably would have said, hey, that was not good. Right. But you prepared us and you explained this is meant to be smoked, drunk with a cigar. And thank you very much.
No, thank you. Honestly, that's me who have to thank you. I'm really happy because I think we have amazing products. We just need to share that and to explain. So I'm really happy that you feel that. If you don't feel what I'm saying, of course, my job is not really good. I'm not doing my job. But if you're happy about that, cognac is about enjoying life. Nothing much. It's about to enjoy. With always not too much. If you drink too much after, it's not good. But small and small, you can enjoy things, I think. But I'm happy. So do you want to go to the vintages? You want to move that, or? Yeah, I see some heads. That's good. Alors, so Hine, clearly, Hine, we have one of the biggest collection stocks of vintage cognac. Why? Because the owner always kept his cask since 300 years, since 1763, when we were founded. A vintage express all the characteristics of the climate of the year, the people who harvest it. It's really a window for me through the time. So you go back in Cognac region in 2006, for example. So if you want, we can start in the right order. You can start with 2006. It's the name of the field of the estate is called Bonneuil. I'm sorry, it's a nose word in French. I know it's hard. 2006. You won't found 2007. Why? The cellar master is going to say, okay, this piece of field is really nice by itself, amazing. I want to make something of it. 2007 was not an outstanding year to do a single vintage. So he decided not to do it. That's really the cellar master who decides. That's why you don't find it. That's why you have only a unique limited number. And after it's gone, it's gone. That's like wine, of course. So 2006 was a good year in France, I would say, especially in Cognac. It was sunny. And you will feel that. Why? Because when you will taste it, it will be a bit more round, rich as well. But here it's amazing. It's not, you have to think when you drink that, you drink something which was not blended. In cognac, it's extremely rare to have that. It's just a pure liquid by itself. Alors, you might enjoy or not. Usually, it's less overwhelming the palate. It's more precise. I would say more thin. Up. And once you have it, let me know. I will help myself as well. 2006 is one of my favorite of the three that we have right there. So exactly the same way of harvest, the same field, the same way of aging, just different climates because different year. Alors, how is it?
I really like this one. Yeah, there's definitely that honey note in there. I like that you talk about the precision of this. It's not too rounded out with anything else. Also, on the back, just on the back, there's like the tiniest hint of minerality, just like a little bit, which is really nice kind of
Balance.
oil to it. Yeah.
I actually get like a nice little lemon, I don't know what to call it, like a lemon zest on it. Yeah.
Like the peel of
Yes.
citrus.
Feel of the
And-
lemon.
A little citrus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
that's
get like a pithy note. Like a little bit of the pith, you know, the white on the inside of the.
yeah. And that is good because it's a characteristic I think you will find more or less in all of the vintage, as it was not blend. You're close to the pure spirit itself, like at its origin. So it's insane that you enjoy that because it's
Are these vintages slowly diluted as well, like the other ones that you were talking about?
always. That you have to clearly. Why we dilute? Why we dilute spirits? Any spirits, mostly cognac as well. What you call in English angel's share. That angel share, the evaporation in cognac with our climate is around 2 to 3% of loss. 2 to 3% every year. You need many years to go from 70 to 40%. So clearly, you need to dilute it to obtain a cognac that you can release for the market while you are still alive. Of course.
And then the color differences, these have not been added color. These are natural compared to the others.
You have nothing except the dilution, of course, which is clearly the characteristic of spirit. You have nothing. And I'm so happy you enjoy that because this is the heart of what we do at Hine and of the history of cognac in the 16th century, what my grandfather used to do in the backyard and so on. You have pure stuff. So if you like, that's a good thing, right?
I will say the interesting thing I've noticed on these is I was really looking forward to getting to the vintages because I wanted to taste Hine without additives, without any kind of sweeteners, without anything. Because the one note that I noticed, the first three expressions that I really liked on the finish after I was done, I got a sweet grape note, like a Moscato grape. You've ever eaten like fresh Moscato grapes? They're absolutely spectacular. They're one of my favorite grapes. It's hard to get them, but when you have them, they're just really delicious. And I was getting that note on the first three, so I was trying to figure out if that's sugar that's been added to it or if that's the actual spirit. And then on the vintage, that note is still there. I feel like the vintage is a little more spicy, a little more sophisticated. It's a little more bitey, so it's not,
that's what I would say with my word would be intense. Indeed, you have an intensity that you have in the vintage that you wouldn't have in the blend cognac, but that comes from the blend. Really, the sweetener is a tiny bit. Alors we use almost nothing, so normally you can't almost feel it.
What do you use as a sweetener?
It's glucose. Glucose. You say that in English as well?
Yeah, glucose.
Yeah.
Sugar syrup that is used.
But like,
Uh,
what is it make? Is it just sugar, just simple syrup type of deal, or is it?
Yeah, it's made by by factories in Cognac that are doing that. After how they make it, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's natural sugar. It's not
Like
chemicals.
it could be molasses, it could be brown sugar, white sugar. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. It's like really syrup of glucose. After to give you more information, I don't know, so I won't say. But I insist, really, 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 you feel that there is almost no sugar. I won't say no because there is still a tiny bit. And I don't want to say any names or whatever, just compares VSOP to another VSOP of bigger brands. Someone other thing. Well, you
Speaking
know,
of, it's so interesting because we put together this tasting and we confirmed it, I started mentioning that we're doing our first tasting with Hine, and for better or worse, I'd never heard of Hine before. Right, I'm not a big cognac drinker. I've heard of the big four houses of cognac that everybody knows about, and so I was excited to learn about you guys. But every time I mentioned it, right, this isn't like you said, you're on the smaller side. Every time I mentioned that we're doing a Hine tasting, people are like, "Oh, I respect Hine. I know. Oh, that's a good brand. That's a good brand." So I don't know if well, like, what's the story? What's the?
I would say that's what I said to someone this morning. Like in life, you need to take side. You can't please everyone. What please everyone? Sugar, stuff like that, average stuff. We are not that. We are 300 years old company, almost 300 years old company, and 260, 70 years. We were founded in 1663 by a family, a French. The owner at the beginning was from England, but he settled in France. I mean, we are really rooted to the knowledge, the terroir of cognac. We want to do quality stuff. You can't please everyone. Of course, we are not a beginner's cognac. We know that. So my job here in the US is to share much more knowledge through Hine. But I'm not going to do whatever it takes for the people to enjoy that. I mean, you enjoy or not.
I appreciate that. Like, and I'm a purist. I like just pure old fashioned way. The made it was way 200 years ago. And so that's something I really appreciate. And I've never heard of you. So that's something I'll look out for now when I'm looking for a bottle. So thank you.
Merci, thank you for that. Thank you. I think in life, you need to stay true to yourself. You can make innovations, but you don't have to forget what you are and what you are good at. I'm really happy that you guys said that all through all the cognacs you have, you could feel the same aromatic signature. That's how you know you do good cognac. If you taste another cognac from the same, it's too different. We missed something. When you drink XO or Rare or H, you have to find the DNA of Hine. And it seems you found it, so I'm really, really glad about that. And if you want to, we can go. Maybe some of you already moved forward. That's good.
I'm doing them side by side, actually. I don't know how many other people are poured all three of the vintages and are smelling them side by side. Anyone else?
I would definitely
step your game. There we go. Galan's doing it.
If you have any glasses, I would suggest you to do that because the purpose of vintages is to compare between them. So I don't know if you all have enough glasses.
Honestly, I mean, I would hope y'all have enough glasses. If you're missing glasses, you give me a call. VTS glasses available for sale. Poor James, look like he's frozen over there. You all right, buddy? Should we send you a heater? Yeah, you. It's like you're in Minnesota. I will say on the nose, the 2006 and the 2008 are, to me, what the VSOP and the Rare were. The 2006 is very light, and the 2008 is very rich.
Again, I'm not pleasing you by saying that, but I mean, it makes sense what we do, and you can feel it. Why? 2006, 2008 were warmer climate. We had a stronger heat during the summer, which means the grapes were a bit sweeter. So at the end, you can feel it. It's a bit richer, your cognac at the end. 2010, usually it's, I don't like to say that word, but it would be more technical. You know what I mean? It's something which is, for me, closer to the pure spirit itself. After the distillation, you go back to the herbs note. something really intense, less round and smooth. It's a bit more, okay, powerful. So it's slightly different, but it's exactly the same field. So for me, 2006 and 2010 are almost opposites in the ways of enjoying it in the mouth. I'm honest, me, I prefer 2006, for example. You have the right to enjoy more 2010, and that's the beauty of nature. We are all different, but clearly I think there is more depth in 2006 for me, for my palate. And what about you guys? Which one do you prefer between the three? If you would choose one.
Also, so their vintages, yes. Were they bottled at the same time, or are they all 10-year-old vintage?
Ça, c'est une bonne question. Alors, yes, of course, you need to compare the same stuff. Usually it's 9 years old, yeah, after 9 years.
So they're all 9 years old across the board?
Yeah. When we bottle it, of course. When we bottle it. Otherwise, indeed, if you bottle after 4 years and the other one after 10 years, doesn't make any sense to compete and to compare.
Yeah.
You're totally
So the 2006 was bottled in 2015, so...
Oh, more or less, yes. Normally it's written inside, so you should look 2020, 2018, and you have the last one, 2016, yes.
They're about 10 years old each, I guess.
10, yeah, 9, 10, yeah, usually.
So
I,
the
I have
2006
a question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Vadim. Go ahead.
I was just saying, you've been sitting on this for 9 years. That's awesome. Or no, 7.
Yeah.
So regarding that 2006 and then the 2008 has much more viscosity to it. It's much more full on the palate, where the 2006 is this like light, bright type of viscosity. What's making that change? Is that just the weather and the grapes, or?
You have the beauty, I think, of spirits, more of really of cognac. I know you know much about many spirits, but as it's made of grapes and wine, you have all the complexity of those elements in your glass. I don't know the answer. And you said it, you have climate, indeed. Maybe the way of harvesting, maybe the way of cutting as well, and cutting the shape of how you cut, when you cut, in October, November, for the rest of winter, will have an impact as well. Anything have an impact if you have a lot of water or not. It's a bit of everything, I think, yeah.
Yeah, these are wildly different from each other, the three of them. And I'm enjoying all of them, each of them for what they have to offer. I'm glad you had us taste the 2006 first, because of the three, I think the 2006 is the lightest.
Yeah. And
trying to taste it after the 10 or the 8 would have been a problem, right?
Exactly. Alors, you said something, I think it's important to get that, why we have an order. If you make a cognac tasting and you start with the oldest, there is a huge problem. The only reason, of course it doesn't make any sense. Yes, but the youngest is stronger. Yes, but your nose and your mouth are really well made. We are used to complexity. Younger it is, normally less complex it is, which means it's more alcohol strong. And you have to start with that. After you go in something more complex, you get used to it, which means after XO, if you drink VSOP after XO, it will taste like spirit and almost like water. And I swear to you, it will have no complexity. And that's why usually you start with 2006. As the year was really warm, I would say the inside of the liquid is a bit more complex by itself. That's why 2010 was not really a good year, to be honest. It's less complex. In French, we say organoleptics. I don't know if you say that in English. Organoleptics. The characteristic of a taste, like the aromas inside by itself. So you always start with the less complex through the most complex. But if ever you still have XO cigar, drink it a bit. Aftertaste aged by Hine, you will find it really flat, and you won't enjoy it. That's why you order.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that you've given us the right order really to taste it in. And is anybody else getting a little licorice or anise on the 2010?
See,
That's
You're way
interesting.
ahead of me.
Oh yeah, sorry. You're the one who said taste them all next to each other, so that's why. That's why I did that, Vadim.
No, but yeah, licorice is a characteristic of the eau de vie, pure eau de vie.
I was getting red licorice on, I think the rare. I was getting like
The
a
rare as
nice
well, yeah.
candy licorice type note. It wasn't like anise, but it was that candy note that I was getting.
But I'm so glad because if you find that, you find the heart, the soul of cognac. If you would tell me it's sweet and woody, I would have cried, honestly. Huh? That's not why I want to work for Hine. I mean, you get really the soul of it. So I'm really, really glad. We had people joining maybe after. I didn't.
By the way, Tony, you know that bottle of 2008 you had me get for you from KNL back in the day? They just canceled your order. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, buddy. I just got an email saying they are not able to deliver. No, not sure what happened there. Sorry, buddy.
I just don't know either. What the heck? I should call.
They're sold out, and they just said that last bottle that had your name on it, for some reason, is just not available.
The 2009
Yeah.
that they have?
KNL had the 2008, then they had the 2010. They don't have them anymore, but they had them for a while. You should all blame Derek for releasing them to KNL at a steal before our tasting, not after.
Thank you, Derek. I bought 2 of each.
Good.
Glad to hear that you got in on the deal when it was available.
Yeah, I was trying to tell people, but they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait till the tasting." I'm like, "It's your loss." I wish I had bought more.
Those are great.
You have, yeah, that's good. Yeah, for example, you have the 2005 that is now sold out. I mean, maybe you can still find a small retail that still have some stocks, but clearly it's gone now. 2005, which was a good year.
Oh, I thought you only did even years. Okay, 2005.
I don't know. It's really we choose the years which is we think the best. So it may be every year or every 4 years, every 5 years. It depends. There is no rules about that. It's really about what the cellar master thinks. So the cellar master, and just to talk a bit about himself, because it's, I mean, he's one of the face working for that. His name is Eric Forget. He's a lovely man, patient about cognac, cellar master more than 20 years. And right now he's passing by. I mean, cognac exists since the 16th century. It's generation work, which means right now he's training a new guy. His name is Paul. He's 30 years old, extremely young. It's only, I think Derek would confirm that 3 years that he's been doing that. He's not ready yet, clearly. 3 years is like a baby in cognac world. So he will still be trained by the cellar master for the coming years, maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years, maybe less, to take over. And he will have maybe a different way to understand our cognac. So maybe he will make unique vintages as well. And you will have, again, more diversity for you. So, anyway.
So Kate brought up a good point. I think we're on the last expression, and Anna, since Jane's not paying attention, has pointed out we have a custom. We have a tradition we do here. So we're going to ask Ian and Michael and Derek to jump on their camera and raise a glass for just a quick second. I know Jane's busy being all union-y.
See you.
All right, there we go. We got most of them. Tony, you got to stop being blurry. I'm not that drunk. Tony, you're too blurry. You're making me feel drunker than I am.
Tony's clearly drunk because he's speaking and he's still on mute.
That's right. Tony, you got to stop pouring the alcohol onto the webcam. They can't see you. All right, Nicolas, thank you so much for being here. Cheers to you. Appreciate it.
But thank you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. And santé. Cheers.
Got it.
Nicolas, are you guys supplying, selling for the big, 4 big company? Are you selling your product too? No, or it's
No, we no. Yeah, that's a good question. We don't supply any other companies. So we have 120 hectares of vineyards in Grand and Petit Champagne, which cover around 30% of our needs of the grapes to do our cognac. The 70% next left is a partnership between us and the small farmers, the wine growers, that are in Petite and Grande Champagne. It's an historical partnership with them. And we buy the grapes, not the grapes, we buy the distilled, the pure spirit after the distillation to them. That's extremely important, yeah. And we do not supply any other brand. That's extremely, because we are quite picky about stuff.
Is the cognac industry now have a...
Sorry, I can't hear you much.
Is the cognac industry now start to have a huge demand, like?
A huge demand? What do you mean?
Huge demand, like more and more people drink?
Alors, yes, through the world, it's keeping growing since 90s, since 30 years. Because of COVID, you had after the COVID a bit of going down. Of course, COVID, people were back home, they were drinking, they were not going out. Now you can go out, so you spend more money, so you have less money to buy spirits, I would think. And you have inflation as well. So people are more careful about their money, which I can totally understand. So right now it's an in-between, it's a bit flat. Of course, I work for cognac, and so I would like to be like that. But to give you the real picture, yes, right now it's a bit like that. But still, we are still growing. It's not bad. Our main market, alors that would be true for any cognac company, most of them, would be North America, the US, your country. That's why I just arrived last week to live here. And the second market will be Asia, mostly with China. Even if Thailand, some countries like that, Malaysia and so on, are doing well as well. In Europe, it's UK, United Kingdom. It's the British who came in the 18th century in cognac to improve the aging process. That's why as well, the age, even if you speak French, you have to say the age of cognac in English. It's not to be fancy, it's to thank the history. British people came in the 18th century to increase the aging process, to increase the quality of cognac, to buy for themselves. That's why now we say the cognac, the age of cognac in English. Sorry, I speak too much when you give a question.
No, that's a funny little point that you've made. A couple things. First of all, Golan, you sound muffled when you're speaking, so I think your microphone might be covered. Anyway, no, not you, Nicolas. It's for Golan. And then I have a little funny story that you might appreciate, Nicolas. So I went to pick a friend up at the French Alliance Center here in Pasadena, and it was Bastille Day. So I thought, well, I'll bring a little bottle of cognac. And it was a nothing cognac, but it was an XO, right? It wasn't a Hine. It was another no name brand. But it was funny because I went around to all the rooms and I offered the teachers who were all from France some cognac. And the funny thing is they all reacted the same way. No. And then they were like, well, what is it? And then I said it was XO, and they were like, okay, but they were going to say no to the cognac until they saw it was XO, and then they all had some. This is pretty funny, I thought.
This story shows everything about the French. You know more right now, maybe before as well, about cognac than the French. 98% of the cognac is for the export. The only reason is that French are consuming whiskeys, mostly whiskeys, clearly, and we don't spend much money. Maximum is $50 in a bottle for us. And believe me, my dad would be here, would say it's already a lot. We don't spend that much money. The only reason cognac is seen as something for old people, which is not true, but it's like that. And exactement, just make your own. And it's also something that people think it's strong because they don't have the education to drink it. It's not popular. Every family, French family, have a bottle of cognac that they open for Christmas, big occasion, but it's not something we commonly drink. The only reason it's the price. For the French, it's too pricey. And as well, we can't really make the law is quite strict against around cognac, around spirits and beverage in France. You can't make that much advertisement, so it's really hard for us to educate people. which is what it is. I have no opinions to give about that. Huh? That's the French law, but that's a fact. So your story is totally makes sense, I think.
It's kind of similar to, I had a similar situation. I went over to a friend's house last year, and it must have been Sunday at 11 a.m. And you know, or Saturday, and I was walking through his house, and he kept offering me booze. It was my first time there, and he was a member of the group. And I was like, no, I'm hungover. It's 10 in the morning or 11 in the morning. Like, I can't. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And then we come around to the other cabinet, and he goes, you want some black art? Oh, God. And that turned into, like, I left at 3 o'clock after tasting all of his, like, 30, 40-year-old scotches. It was, yeah, I lost half the day. It was terrible.
That's dangerous friends now. That's good.
These are stupid good. I found the perfect meme, but I obviously won't play here. But yeah, this is redonkulous. We voted on the best, on everybody's favorite of the night, but I also want to get everybody's opinion just for fun on what your favorite of the vintages is. So please vote on your favorite vintage.
Ah, okay. Well, I shared it with anyone. Huh? I didn't know you could vote. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
I'm quite new with Zoom. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We've done this a couple of times. I will say, for me, there is a clear winner in the vintages and in the lineup, but I don't get to vote since I'm the one hosting, but you get to vote. So where are you based? You personally?
Me?
Mhm.
Alors, I just arrived last Thursdays from Cognac, of course. I will be based in Chicago, mostly. Try to cover the US. It's a huge country that you have, right? It's a lot of work, especially that, as you said, we are not that famous, but that will be my job. Yeah, not yet, indeed. That's I hope it's a nice success story that will come the way. So yeah, Chicago based, and so far I just spent 3 days there because I was in Los Angeles 2 days ago.
What? Does Derek not have my number? What the heck?
I had really not much time, really, like I will come back. Sure, I definitely come back. But I think Chicago is a pretty nice city to live, it seems. I like the cold as well, so maybe that's why I say that, right? Winter are nice, but to have cognac as well.
And Chicago just sounds so much better when a French person says it.
I need to practice on my accent. Oh la la.
No, you're good. All right, everyone's voted. All right, so we'll do it in reverse order. Nicolas, what do you think the group's favorite vintage was of the ones we tasted?
I'm really bad because I always will give my opinion, which is not good. I don't know, maybe with what you said, 2010, I don't think so, clearly. 2000, it will be between 2008 and 2006, but I will definitely go for 2006. Maybe I'm wrong.
The results are in. 57% voted for 2008.
C'est cool.
And I agree. So that would have been an extra vote. For me, 2008 was just hands down the tastiest one. It's so sweet and fruity and delicious with no additives. Just, oh my goodness. I should have bought a case of this.
The 2008 was the most complex, and it was like the 2010 was in the middle, and the 2006 was like the lightest. Not to say the 2006 was not complex on taste, but on palate feel and the way it feels in your mouth.
That's good. That's really good.
Nicolas, I did want to ask, what's with the ABVs? So the ABV here is 42.1, 42. So it's all over the board. Are these, they're obviously not brought down to 40% for mass distribution.
Yeah. Alors, usually cognac is 40. 40. Because it's the way it is. It can't be under 40, clearly. A cask can be under, which means in the final blend, you will have to put younger spirits to increase the ABV. That's extremely important to know because for some older cognacs, the ABV is around 36%. And the thing is, 40, usually in France, it's 40. If you go above that, you pay as well different taxes. The papers administration is quite different. As this is vintage, we did not try to make 40 to blend or to reach something. It's just a pure spirit that you have right there. until
These are
the
cast strength.
exactement.
Yeah, I told you, Anna. I told you they're cast strength.
Like it's
Where's she at?
filtered, of course. We don't want you to have dust inside,
But
but you
you
have
don't do you do chill filtering? Do you like bring it down below freezing and then filter out all the fat?
there is stuff like that. I can't be that precise because I don't know, but maybe Derek would be more competent than me. But yeah, definitely they
So
filter.
I mean, I guess the real test is put it in the freezer, see if it gets hazy. If it does, then
What is hazy?
if it gets like blurry, it's foggy.
No, alors no, it doesn't get blurry. It will
Too
get
bad.
thicker.
We want the haze. We like it because that's flavor. But
Okay.
I get
Alors, you mean point inside?
it. So chill filtering, you take out the fatty acids. Essentially, it's very popular in whiskey.
Okay.
You would do it in cognac because you're bottling at 40%. Anything under 46 would get like foggy. It'll get
Usually, yes. Yeah, that's sometimes some bottle of XO or vintage, you can see some through the time some stuff that appear inside. And indeed, that's what you're saying. People think it's bad, but of course it's not.
it's the best part.
Indeed, but for many people, sadly, without education, they think they throw it away. It's a shame, but anyway.
Have them send it to us. We'll
To me too.
take care of it.
It's good.
All right. So 2008 was the winner of the vintages. And now, what do you think was the group's favorite expression overall?
Overall,
Yeah.
I definitely would say maybe 2008. I think you really enjoyed the cigar XO, but maybe I would keep to 2008 because you seems to be really into vintage and unique stuff. So I don't know. I feel that you are quite a connoisseur group. So I will guess for 2008, but maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know.
All right. The results are in. 2008's number one.
Ah, super.
2008, and then 2010 and XO Cigar Blend took second place. So that's pretty great.
And rare has a good stuff. I'm really happy about that. That's really good.
Yeah, 2 votes for rare. That's great.
Yeah, that's good.
I still think that. I mean, I thought the VSOP was delicious as well. So these are all.
But it's a VSOP. You're right. It's
yeah, for fantastic though. This is great. And so to that point, all of the vintages were cask strength, no water added, right? That's why they're that proof. That
yes. But they were diluted over the years as well. Huh?
Oh, so you're diluting it in the cask while it's aging.
Yeah. You it's diluted. In 10 years, you could not reach that. So through all the aging process, I didn't get your questions. The cognac will be diluted as well. It depends the recipe and how we want to do it.
How much are you adding per year? How is that dilution taking place over time?
I think I could not even give you a proper stuff because it really depends when you want to release, what you want to achieve. There is no written rules. Of course, there is written rules if you're a bigger company and you sell VSOP from a bigger brands because they need to achieve some quota. But it really depends the final taste that you want to have. So for example, this one we could have kept to age much more, but we decided to release at that particular time.
Interesting. So you're diluting it that blows my mind. I knew that cognac does slow dilution, but I didn't realize you started adding water to it slowly the whole time. Because then
the whole time is to get through some years.
But then if you're gonna let it age 30 years,
Ça c'est génial. That's a good question. More older it is, less dilution you will have because it will be more like for example a 60 years old cognac. You don't want to dilute it, otherwise you will lose too much ABV at the end. So you're totally correct. That's explained the cost as well of old cognac. Why old cognac are extremely pricey? Because they were sleeping for 60 years and we didn't touch the cask except to check the quality. That's what makes an old cognac unique, really unique.
But so they're not adding water to that one?
There is always water for the first after 70%, just after the distillation. That's the rule. Huh? You do a first dilution, but after you can keep it without diluting it. You're totally correct.
So what do you dilute it to on the first dilution? What do you barrel at?
So usually after the distillation, the second distillation, you dilute it from 70 ABV, 70%. usually to 62. That's not a written rule, that depends.
That's fine. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's what Scotch does. 62.5 is standard.
Exactement. And after, you do what you want, clearly. So you will put it directly in a young cask. For some bigger brands, it's 9 months, 1 year. In a young cask, it will get full of tannins. After, they will send the liquid from the small cask to a blending vats. They will blend and they will dilute it as well. You know, it's really about the taste. The blending vats that we use are made in oak as well. That's extremely important. It's not
You're using Limousin the whole time?
Limousin. Alors Limousin, non. Some big companies, I won't say some name, would say they use only Limousin. No, Limousin is clearly close to Cognac, where my parents live. Limousin is a tiny region in France. You have a lot of forest. The forests are controlled in partnership with the state. You can't make what you want. You can't kill the forest to make Cognac, which is extremely good. So Limousin is not, you don't have enough wood, oak, to do it. So most of our French oak is coming from Limousin, but not only. You have a forest northeast of France, etc., with good quality as well. Usually it's around 100 years old, the age of the oak. That's why you have to think a century ahead, because it's about rotation. About the oak. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any more oaks in France, which is not the case. The French forests are increasing 3% a year. They are not producing. It's the agricultural lands in France which are reducing. Sorry, I'm going a bit out of the topics, maybe.
So, and you guys can please stop me if this is, if I'm killing a dead horse here, kicking a dead horse. It's just blowing my mind that you guys, I understand diluting it from 70% to 62.5 to barrel it. But then you're adding water every year, not knowing how long you're going to age it. Like, what are you doing?
No.
Anna, explain it to me.
Not water every year. That's really, there is not written rules. It depends what you want to do with your liquid. Usually the cellar master, maybe I should have started from that. After the distillation, the cellar master, with his nose, and after he drink it diluted, you always have a first tasting with the nose, 70% ABV. After, you reduce it with water until it reaches 40%, and you will put it in your mouth. Normally, I mean, if you're a good cellar master, that's your job. That's his or her job. It will be to know, to try to guess. Okay, what I am tasting right now, this pure alcohol will be maybe good after 4 years of aging. This one will maybe good after 7 years. So like that, he have the big picture, and he will do what it takes to reach 4 years, 7 years, etc. You know what I mean? So it's usually we focus about what we have, the taste we can, the final taste we can get. It's really the spirits itself that tell us, okay, we will keep it for 4 years, 7 years, 6 years. It's not what we really want to make. There is a difference, at least for Hine. It's first the liquid, and after the cellar master will adapt the liquid to think his best potential. That's really the heart of the way of thinking of Hine, to get the best out of the liquid itself. I don't know if I was clear. No?
No, you were clear.
Okay.
This was great. I think the other thing to just keep in mind, Vadim, is other cognacs do this. This is very, very common in the cognac world. The other thing too is like you're deciding, I'm going to do this with this cognac. We, yes, think it's going to be better if it's aging longer. So then we're not going to add too much water now, because then it would be too low. Also, some compounds in wood are water soluble versus alcohol soluble. So that's something else to keep in mind too, about how much extraction. Although if they're using really light toast, that's going to be a little less of an issue than if you have something else that's charred or toasted more heavily. Anyway, yes.
Indeed.
That's a good point, Anna, about the about what's water soluble versus alcohol soluble in the wood. Thanks for pointing that out. I mean, that's obvious, but you know, it's not something we necessarily think about. So thank you for pointing it out.
So is it all cellar aged, and why not above ground? So cellar to me is below ground, why not above ground? Is it temperature or the
No,
length?
it's above is on the top, right? No, it's okay. The cellars in cognac, like as far as I try to find one which is not most of like the rule, would be on the top above the ground. It's not under the ground, the cellars. What with cellier cellars for us is really on the top of the ground. We would call it more cave if it was under. It's on the top. Why? Because usually we don't want to control the temperature. We need this difference of temperature. It's colder inside the building in winter, makes sense. Huh? It's warmer in summer. This difference of temperature will increase the angel's share, the evaporation, and that will make it age your cognac. Of course, that's for the big picture. In fact, we don't want too much evaporation as well. That would be an impact, and that's forbidden by the state. It's forbidden to have more than 6% of angel's share evaporation every year in cognac. Why 6%? I mean, why the states say, okay, you can't guys go do more than 6% of evaporation through the years? Because in the history of cognac 100 years ago, you had some smart people, if I can say they are smart, that say, okay, oh, this year I lose 20% of as evaporation of cognac, which was a lie. It was to keep them for the black market and not to pay taxes. So the state had to say, okay, guys, we know the average is around 3% that you lose every year. We're going to put a limit of 6%. If you go above that, you will get a fine. So that's the stuff. So we need this difference of temperature. What I have to say and what we experience is that we have stronger summer in France, heat waves, clearly. I'm 28 years old and I can clearly see that since 10 years, the summers are quite insane in France. Warmer it is, more evaporation you will have. So now the cellars, we try to make it more thick, the walls. And the walls are traditionally made with limestones, etc. You put concrete and on the side you put limestones. It helps to keep a lower temperature in winter. We don't put AC in our cellars. It's far too big. It will be wasting powers, of course. Did I answer your question? Ouais, super. Cool. Okay, super, Anna. I didn't read what you... Yeah, work for me. Thanks for the contact as well in Seattle. Up.
I will say, yeah, that anybody who's getting bottles from me, there will be an angel share. Just saying.
20%.
Yes, you know, that's just it's a very hot winter in LA. Sorry.
You know, though, I really appreciate that you explain some of these laws and the root of the law, because we find that whatever we taste, the law plays such a big part in the making of whatever it is, whatever the distillate is. We found that with Ireland, you know, the Irish whiskeys, and Scotland. And anyway,
Yeah.
This is really interesting, and it gives the historical context. It really helps. So
Yeah,
it's
you're
great.
correct, because usually, I mean, you say that out of context, okay, you will think that's a stupid law to fix it to 6%. There is no sense against a stupid law, but clearly there is a history behind it, and that's what I like. Everything that seems simple in life, in fact, they are not, and it's a result of something which is much older than that. So you're totally correct.
Is with cognac where you're aging it at, is it normally set up in like a pyramid shape?
Alors yes, ça c'est cool. The way we put the cask is called quinconce. I have no ideas in English. That's the shape of it. It's like when you put, I don't know, you put, I think it's six, yeah. Six
like
casks.
this?
Yeah, yes, more or less, yes, it's like this. Usually you don't go more than 3 casks on the top, because after it's too heavy for the one on the bottom. At Hine, as far as I know, it should be about the same, 2 to 3 casks on the top. Of course, I will speak to you in liters. I'm so sorry, I don't know is it gallons, the liquid here? I'm still new to that, huh?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's what 52? No,
Yeah, 200 liters.
200 liters.
Yeah,
Okay.
Our cask now are 350 to 400 liters.
Oh, wow. You got some
Wow.
big sherry butts.
In any cognac company, it's about that, yeah. Because that's what we think is the best liquid for the wood ratio. Wine, of course, would be 200, 222. But us, it's between 300 to 450, 410. Yeah.
Those are big boys. What are those called?
Oh, that's just a regular cask for our spirit that we have for
Is there
cognac.
like a name for that size?
No. There is a name for a bigger size though. There is a cask that we called tierçon. It's a weird old French word. It's 550 liters. It's much bigger. But as well, the shape of the wood is quite different. Usually you keep them for aging cognac many years. Many years, clearly. That was an old way of doing a tierçon, which cost more wood to produce. It was lost in the history. And it's an old style of doing cask that is coming back right now, which is quite trendy, but it's more pricey as well.
That's cool. All right. Huh. It's not a hogshead and it's not a puncheon. Yeah, so kind of weird. Its own
Sorry?
size.
Oui, vraiment, bien sûr.
Anyone else? Jane wanted to show off her French. That's delicious.
I'm happy you enjoyed. So that's and as I told you, if you drink it, traditionally we drink it as a digestive, but clearly you as a starter during the meal, you remove the wine, you will build your meal around the cognac. It might be really nice as well. Haddock, smoked. Haddock is a smoked fish. You have some stuff that are outstanding, like really. Play with that chocolate truffles, clearly. Christmas is coming. Chocolate truffles, take at least XO. C'est magique. Oh, if you like cheese, I'm a cheesy guy, I'm French. Blue cheese, if you like blue cheese, you take baguette, put a bit of butter. Fat is a key of life as well. You put a little bit of blue cheese. You eat that after you eat and you chew. After you have cognac. Be careful, it's like a candy. So usually you take cognac to finish your cheese and you take cheese to finish your cognac. So don't take the car after.
This is all good advice. And
I
so
think this was great tasting. It really was very education.
Merci, thank you very much. That's really kind. I'm really happy and you all enjoyed. So really happy.
And I got some messages in the background. Derek, thank you so much for the swag. I think everyone enjoyed everything they got.
Awesome. Glad to hear. Thank you guys for this. Really appreciate it.
This was awesome.
Okay, but I can't get my lighter to light.
It's empty. It's empty.
Oh,
Yes.
that's why.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can't ship them full.
that makes sense, of course. So
You get some
I
butane.
got to get some butane. All right. But I like it. It's so pretty.
Awesome.
Thank you.
It is awesome. Yeah.
Jealous, I don't have it. I would ask Derek.
Ah, there we go. Tony got it.
So there you go. So now I have something to light that cigar
Do
that
not
I'm
fly
never
with it.
actually going to smoke. But
Well,
know.
if you like candles for Christmas or something.
Indeed.
yeah, there you go.
Or to do the flambé, when you cook.
Yeah, flambe.
There you go.
Do not fly with those. TSA will take them away. They'll try to take it away even if you try to check it. Just saying. That's why they're shipped empty. Oh, God, I can't stop smelling this. This is so good. This is dangerous.
Yeah.
I want to go back and I don't know whether to start all the way back to the beginning again.
So Tony, I went back all the way to the beginning and I found a new appreciation for each of the first three.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, I tasted more grapes on the cigar reserve this second time around than I did the first time around. I'm tasting more grape. So I'm really curious to hear what other people say. But one thing is, Nicolas, I liked everything. Even the cigar, I appreciated it. I think I have to have something with it, like smoked salmon, for instance, I think would be great with this.
It's clearly designed to have a pairing with, clearly designed for that.
Right, right. But all the others, I feel like I can drink neat, and you know, they're just for different moods.
Yeah, that's
Not
what I
not a
like.
bad one in the bunch. I mean,
Yeah.
I really enjoy them. Yeah.
You're correct. Totally correct.
Love the idea of the blue cheese on a baguette. I'll have to do that. I love it.
Honestly, do it. You toast a baguette.
That and the flambe scallops, because I love scallops.
Do it.
Tony,
Like
don't make me hungrier than I already am. Stop.
I am. Oh yeah. No, but even prawns, you keep the shell of the prawn. You have a lot of taste. You put butter and garlic. You cook it until it becomes really crispy. And after you do flambé with cognac, you add crème fraîche. You add that on a pasta spaghetti with leek. Leek.
Oh yeah,
leeks.
yeah, leeks, yeah.
So it's insane. Some family eat that for Christmas as well with other side dishes. It's really, really good. And scallops is amazing. So
Oh yes.
bye-bye, Anna.
Saint-Jacques.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. Any other French food make Vadim hungry questions? You know, Nicolas, if we didn't know you were French, you mentioning put butter into every dish. Now we do.
Yes, yeah, that I mean, it's your fly fried cream and butter.
That's it.
Butter?
Oh yeah, butter, of course, and
No,
olive
no,
oil, of
not
course.
butter.
I-
It's
Butter
butter.
and butter
is
makes
the
everything
answer to
better.
Everything.
Yeah, yeah.
He's using good
There are
quality butter. He's not using Kirkland.
Mm. No, it has to be,
No, good Breton butter.
yeah, a bit salty or grass-fed, obviously, and nothing else than that.
Oh yeah.
There's very few things that can't be improved by cheese and butter and cream.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I might just go make myself a butter salmon sandwich right now without the bread. This is fantastic. Well, thank you all so much. Don't leave. I have an announcement after this, but I do want to hit stop on the recording. And there are no other questions for Nicolas. I want to thank you so much for being here. Cheers to you. And you're always welcome back. Next year, when you guys get the XL back, let me know. We'll set up another one.
With pleasure, definitely with pleasure. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks.